All right, all right. Peace, family, peace. Thank you for your patience. Woo-wee! We got a legendary show happening for you today. Y'all know I usually have my commercial queued up, but right now I think I deleted it. They say there's no accidents, but I deleted it from my desktop. I got it in my email, so I could retrieve it from my email. Uh oh. Seven. There's feedback on you. I'm hearing myself echoing. Do you have a computer open or something else open? That's me. That's me. That's me. I got. That's what it is. Okay. All right. All right. I got it. That's not seven. All right. Got to get a couple of things in order before we start the show, family. But
Oh,
listen,
okay. Oh, my bad. My bad. I was on the wrong tune. Okay.
no, it's all good. That was me. I had YouTube open as well, so that was
Okay.
me. Listen, family. Without further ado, look at Seven's graphics, man. Look at Seven's graphics, man. You would think that's really him sitting here. Like, look at this dude's graphics, man. This dude here, man. Oh man, this dude ain't no joke. Welcome back to the platform, Seven Bomar. Welcome back, my brother.
Woo, man, we really be in this.
Yeah. It's some exciting time, Seven. Wow. I had to name it the Omega Code. I mean, I was watching the other day how Trump was going after the makers of Tylenol. And I said, wow, the pharmaceutical, they gangsters. They big time gangsters. Now, Trump is really, really, really trying to mess with their dollars. He's telling everybody, like, if you're pregnant, don't take it. If this, don't take it. If you gotta, don't give it to your baby. And this is Trump, the president. He fucking with them pharmaceutical gangsters. Seven, they fighting like cats and dogs right now. Seven. This shit is like a sight to see. And it's like, wow, man. It's really the times that I've heard you, Bobby, Phil, Delbert, everybody since, I've been in this since I was like 18. Everybody who's been talking about this stuff, I'm seeing it go down in front of my face. I'm seeing my DNA activate. I'm seeing the politics, the church fall, the school system fall, the health. Like I'm seeing, like this shit is amazing to see. It's a little scary. It's amazing. It's exciting. It's a lot of emotions wrapped into one, my brother.
It's
A
like when
whole
you
lot.
go down a roller coaster and you raise your hands. It's like, yo, he's on another
Oh,
level. Some people just be holding on to the thing, right? Like, yo, I hope this is over. Some folks got their hands up. Ah!
yeah, man. Wow. It's something to see. But to start out the show, we got a lot to talk about. I'm excited. I'm about to make history with Seven in Red Pill in about 2 weeks at the AI Masters God of Intelligence workshop. Please, family, in this changing world, this is probably the most important workshop that's out there right now. This is guaranteed to change your life. Let me post it in the link right now. Shout out to everybody who's already joined, who's in the Discord. So many things come along with it. It's a 2-day, 12-hour workshop. But Seven, before we get started, the first thing I gotta ask you, because we're in October and they say this thing is coming at the end of October. What's your take on a 3-eye atlas? Is it something that benefits us? Is it a ship? Is this some propaganda? What's your thoughts, my brother?
I am the 3-eye atlas.
Oh, whoa.
We showed up already. We've been here. Tonight is going to be epic. We got about an hour and a half runtime for the folks in the house that want to know how long they're going to be here. So we're going to attempt to put all the next level in this hour and a half.
Excellent.
So all of this makes sense. We don't get into any of the trivial stuff that we all know already. Like, everybody's experiencing it. Now you get a chance to not make it let's see if that happens, because it's all happening right now. Now it's about what you're going to do and what comes next, right? And I also want to let everybody know I'm here. I'm live in the flesh. I'm feeling good. It's still late at night, But this is about 5,100 Kelvin that I'm pumping out right here just to stay lit. And so I'm preserving my melatonin because I definitely want to get into that fourth dimensional dream world tonight. So that's why you see the glasses. So first,
You
I
sell
want to
those? Seven, you sell those?
these glasses?
Yeah.
No, I can send you a link though. They look nice though, right? But yeah, I just got to block. I got to bring down some of this light. You know what I mean? I also want to give thanks. Rich, you really been a bridge on a lot of things. In many ways, it keeps me going to have purpose and to, really see the changes and the transformation. To see other brothers come in, Red Pill, Spin City. Just really, really bringing it. Equipped for what is coming and beyond. That's. You don't need a lot of that. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, if it's all of us doing everything, that only works so well. Sometimes we do need these pioneers that are like, look, let's hit this direction, but do it in your way.
Right.
You must add uniqueness. You know what I mean? That's what the package says. Like I said, just add water, and this one just add uniqueness. And you could take any of this high level stuff and go all the way to something that no one even conceived. And and so that's what this is about tonight. It's about how to get to that space, because that's a certain form in itself. And I also wanted to mention that it is 17 years. I did the math just a moment ago, just to make sure I'm not pushing numbers out there. It's 17 years of accumulative knowledge and heavy level determination. See what I mean? That's what we're talking about. So when I'm bringing stuff, let's just say it like this. When I start talking about this, you'll start seeing the internet ringing with what I'm saying after this. Okay? Because in many ways, we got to still ask ourselves, who are our prime movers? Who are our prime numbers? Who are the early bloomers? Who are the tips on the arrow, right? Like I know if I say, hey, you go in first and it's all crazy in there, it's on fire, you be like, yo, you go first, right? So that's me. I'm going to jump in there first because I was trained to go into the fire, not run away from it. And so in that, I receive something to distribute to all of humanity, those who actually have the cognizance and are ready to get to the next level, Rich. So I got one question for you right off. So let's assume we started off at the first dimension, which is like a dot. We went to the second dimension, which is like a string or a straight line, like DNA. Then we ended up in the third dimension, like we are right now. If I said we was going to the next level, what would that mean for you? Like logically, what would that mean?
It's like graduation.
Like if you was like on third dimension, and then you're gonna graduate from third dimension, where would you even go?
What do you mean from the third to the fourth?
Logically, right? But you see how like I don't want to use you as an experiment tonight, but what I need to do is I need to put some stuff in alignment for everybody, because there's a lot of stuff just being thrown in right now and it's getting very confusing, and we need to be specific about certain things because those things make the most difference out of all the other stuff. Some words, some knowledge is worth more than all the other stuff. There's a ranking system here, and that's the gamification. So if we're hypothetically saying, hey, I started in first dimension, zero dimension is like, you know what I mean? You out of space, you out of time. And then when you come into reality, first dimension, then okay, it's like a school. So if we at third dimension, then that's the one we're in right now. We can prove this is 3D mathematically. And I said, yo, Rich, we're going to the next level. Where will we be going technically? To the fourth dimension. I'm going to answer the question for you because it's that crazy right now. Even when you ask somebody, hey, where are we going next? They don't really know because they don't know anything about the fourth dimension. And then when you start really getting into it, you find one class knows about it because they study geometry and they understand how that works with math and math. And then on the other team, you got them just basically saying fourth dimension is evil and to skip that and go to like 90th dimension, which would be like me telling you, yo, skip first grade, second grade, go all the way and be a senior. So now there's this energy, right? This energy is always like, yo, I'm going all the way to the top first. It's not, yo, let me go one level to the next level to the next level, because A lot of youngsters don't realize the importance in levels and in stages, but the universe does.
Yes.
That's why it'll do that 1D, 4D, 3D. It'll do the 1D, 2D, 3D. It'll do that stair-stepping process, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we go even deeper and I start talking about fourth dimension, which is the introduction of the conversation this evening, there are certain mechanics about the fourth dimension that automatically allow you to, when I say, yo, let's do this on the next level,
Mm-hmm.
you can actually really do it on the next level. You can actually really get into a space. Now, it turns out that everything is like neighbors because everything is connected. Literally, you have access, direct access to second dimension and fourth dimension because you're in third dimension. Those are the two dimensions that are around you. Okay, so just write this down in your mind then, and those that are viewing. Technically, what you are here in 3D is you are a fourth dimensional shadow in third dimension.
Right.
Just remember what I'm saying. You're a fourth dimensional shadow in third dimension. No different than your shadow is a 2-dimensional version of your 3-dimensional self. You see what I mean? But just now in second dimension. And so when we start even talking about shadow work and all this kind of stuff, what we're really talking about is the second dimension. You see what I mean? And the characteristics of the second dimension are very specific. That's why wizards use certain languages, certain levels of writing, certain spaces and gaps, because that's the only thing that things on second dimension can really correspond to. So tonight, though, it's about the fourth dimension and it's about fourth dimensional material. That's what I'm going to be getting into, because just like in third dimension, you have things that you build with. You have elements, crystals, periodic table. On the fourth dimension, there's a whole nother set of materials that you use to build with. And so even when we say, hey, we're going to work on another level, that really means that we're just going to work using these different materials that correspond to that level. So this is a step-by-step process of actually making a transformation from a 3-dimensional experienced being to the fourth dimension, because you already have access to the fourth dimension, because of course the fourth dimension, which is like a gateway, it's not necessarily like a place in that way. And we'll explain that here in just a minute. But the fourth dimension, you access the moment you go into sleep. Because the fourth dimension is like a gateway in itself. So it can give you access to other dimensions. And this is why you end up in different worlds. Everybody be knowing you. You don't know these folks here, but you get in the dream world, y'all rolling together like y'all know each other. Because those are all 3-dimensional spaces, if you may, based on how those spaces are really created. But how you're getting into them is through the fourth dimensional vehicle. So our ancestors, they knew about the fourth dimension. In fact, that big ass pyramid out there is just a symbol to the fourth dimension. So cold that because it's sitting on the delta, it's literally any being in that area as an ancestor is only using the fourth dimensional materials called Ka, which looks like a black smoke, a thick black smoke. They're only working with that ether and then putting that into vessels and animating vessels. Okay, that's fourth dimensional stuff, because it's like a fourth dimensional hole there where the thing is coming forth by day, meaning they're coming into, and when we say coming into, we're talking about when you come forth by day, now the sun is spraying out the code through lights, the lights carrying the information. This is why you can shine a light on a plant like in a grow house and it'll grow without the sun. Because it's not really like the heat and all that stuff that's really the conduit. It's the actual lights. The hertz and the frequencies within the lights is carrying the information. So what we're building into now is, and I'm bringing receipts, is the reason why, and we may want to start throwing this on big screen real quick just so everybody can see it. And this is why, like, it was in front of your face.
Come on.
Okay. Anything that, like the tip of this dimension, if you may, where they challenge the thinkers to play a game. And the games, the original ones, they all have this same coding. And this coding is the 64. just like your original 64-bit Nintendo. Okay. And now when you see this, like this Rubik's Cube, right? This 4x4, when you count all the cubes up, you get 64. You see this chessboard, you got 64 squares. Also in music, you got the 8 octaves times 8, which is 64. You also got the I Ching, okay? The trigrams and the hexagrams, which are much more older. So even the symbols that I'm going to show you today, understand that those symbols resided in old stuff that our ancestors were carrying around because they knew about the fourth dimension. And this is why it was like common sense. Now, I won't say common sense. It was just like commonplace to know that if you wanted to see someone that had died, you only need to access the fourth dimension. This is the reason why you can see dead people in your dreams and they can come back, talk to you. Hey, baby, I'm okay. You see what I mean? Because see, in the fourth dimension, and throw me back on real quick, Rich. In the third dimension, in the fourth dimension, because there's no such thing as time, everything in the third dimension limitation. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not on this. I'm not on the camera. Hold on. I took over the whole thing. There we go. The only thing, the things in fourth dimension. Okay, so let's just put it this way. So the laws in fourth dimension don't involve time. This is why people keep getting looped around over here with all the things happening, the Trump and all this, because therefore all this is fourth dimensional beings. These are just humans that either learned it from other entities or just got the books and questioned questioned somebody that they really believed, and then they showed it to them. Like the image I'm showing here are the Psychonauts, the OTO, the Golden Dawn, Aleister Crowley, the Renaissance group. Later on became the Royal Society. Later on became the Educational Institution. AWAS became AI. You see what I mean? That's all what is in this picture right now. But a psychonaut is a person who takes hallucinogenic substances and penetrates through other realms. Because see, the thing about the fourth dimension, and this is definitely all on point, is that some people are like, well, so how do I control the fourth dimension? This is what spiritual awareness and spiritual ascendancy is about. Because you're literally learning the process of realizing the maxim, all is self. How does this work? It means that when you hit fourth dimension, because first of all, everything is unified anyway. This is not an argument. This is not something you have to want to do or accept. Every single thing is tied in. If air didn't show up, you would be cut off. So all the systems are tied in. Okay. So we have a paradox because we have a system that is completely tied in that also functions as an individual. This is what the system loves. This is what you got to get used to. It loves these paradoxes. It loves these biggie smalls. You got to get used to being an individual in totality. Trying to prefer one or another, it ain't going to cut it. You got to master and balance both because the universe operates that way. This is the fourth dimension teaches you that first, because what happens is that anything you see in the fourth dimension is actually you. You can't control it. But if you lose just that awareness, if you're moved from your consciousness to believe that what you're seeing is something else, it immediately takes on its animation. And its animation is governed kind of like what AI can do to something like, when they're going to come out with GTA 6, I've been seeing some of the stuff that they're working on with their AI. They want to give every single NPC in the game a long roadmap of AI decisions that will send it on. It's going to be the first real world simulation for real, where every character, even the ones that are not a part of the game, also are moving on their own thing because they got the mind of an LLM. But the sequences and things that they get into, they keep going further. This is how you even get characters that are completely driven by AI that become even more anonymous, or I don't know what word I'm going to look for, than many of the human personalities. And that sets up this, gateway to where if you're controlling some of those personalities, that's another revenue stream. You see what I mean? But we don't want to get off tune here. What I'm talking about is that when you don't control what is in the dream, there is a plug-in for it that happens immediately. The moment that you remove control or choose not to take control, it is controlled. And then it'll act. So then all of a sudden you'll be acting in the dream based on what the dream is doing to you. So you running, you see what I mean? But because that has a program.
Right.
You see what I mean? And when you don't control it, it immediately turns on its program. And the reason also this is involved like this is because a lot of those beings are also third dimensional beings. Okay. So when you step into the dream world as a being who is already geared up to deal with fourth dimension, all of the three-dimensional eidolons, three-dimensional personalities, three-dimensional spirits, etc., moving in that are still in that space, just like we would be in that space if we dream, you can take control of them. Because the difference is they're dreaming, you're not. Okay? Now let's go deeper. See, we're always in these matrices in some level of dreaming. This is why the ancestors call it dream time when they would go down 2-dimension, into these deeper levels, because they knew, hey, we're always dreaming. And this is just from the common sense fact that if you take something like DMT or you open up your third eye, you get such a high energetic signature. It is well over anything that you've experienced in the physical life before. So thus, we would have to assume that's really living. And then where we're at is somewhere in between, like we're less. We're a little bit down lower into the death part compared to that. So in that way, because we can't die, we're technically in these sub levels of dreams. Okay. And as you go deeper and deeper into dreams, that's how time starts to exist. Because remember, time on these higher levels don't really exist. But when you start coming down in the sub levels, you start to have time lags. So what you're in right now is a very long dream. Okay. These are third dimensional slow down dreams. If you wanted to see what that looked like, just for the kicks of it, for the adepts that are out there or in there, as I should say, they show you in these kind of phenomena when you got these receipts. 2026 is, bring your receipts. Don't just be talking, like show me how it happens. So these are old Royal Society illustrations showing how it's all mirror work in that way. That's why the mirror plays such an important role in magic, because literally you are diverting the lights. Okay. You're controlling the lights. It's like a form of even theatrics, if you may, where you're controlling the lights to the code. Okay. Because what fourth dimension is about, and moving around fourth dimension, is really understanding the sequence of the codes. This is what you're witnessing the Rubik's Cube. You know how he can move it around. Fastest kid in the world, 3 seconds, Chinese. Solve the Rubik's Cube. What he's doing, though, is what is the combination in order to get the pieces till they reassemble? Because what's literally happening is you're disassembling and reassembling your consciousness, which is basically the DNA with your unique signatures on it, your unique padlock, your unique pass keys, your unique signature. Okay. And so it's like when you this is time travel. When you decompose or decompress or disintegrate, this is what happens when you die or you go to sleep. You now reassemble yourself into certain realities. And how much of yourself you can bring there, how dialed in you could be to your original self. So you're kind of aware, like, I just left Earth. Now I'm here. You can even ask people, where are we at? You on Zarvon 9. You see what I mean? But even beyond that, everything that is generally in those realities are controllable by you. So this is the real realm of manifestation. Now, here's what happens, though, when you get hoodwinked, meaning that when someone takes the fourth dimensional symbols, which again, they call the tesseract, the ultimate fourth dimensional symbol, again, being pyramids and hypercubes and hyperspheres. But when you want to convey that especially if it's speculative. This is like a form of Freemasonry, is speculative. That means they're going to think their way into higher levels of enlightenment through the mind, speculation, reasoning. And so in this speculation, this symbol, because the cube is known to be engaged in entering the fourth dimension from a symbolic level, a mathematical level, and a geometric level, when you open the cube up, it makes this shape, which is the original cross. So Jesus on the cross, quote unquote, is really the process of going into fourth dimension, which you're going to surely die. You're going to divide, if you may, because you're leaving third dimensional plane, and then you're going to raise again. This means that you're going to actually come into a fourth dimensional state of consciousness, a fourth dimensional space, a hyperspace. So then, again, years and years of watching, seeing the symbols, seeing others interpret them, most of the time it being negative, and then coming to a greater level of awareness when having all the receipts. So look inside of this box. You see this actual intermapping, interlacing of the vertices that are inside of the box. It looks like what they call a Maltese cross. Looking for my other symbols here. There's plenty of them. The Queen wears it. All types of secret societies, they're always wearing it. But just recently, she was wearing it. And we're not going to say any words here. If you've been watching what's going on, you're gonna know who we're talking about, but we're not going to say the words. What I'm showing you is this. And in a secret society, the code is, do you see that star? No, sir, I see it. Meaning that if you're aware of the hypercube, fourth dimension, you know any event that happens in the matrix can be done, redone, undone. This is why you don't never see nothing really happening. You would think, especially in the current regime, out of all the people they done pissed off and all the big time money some of these players got, that somebody would be paying for what's happening, a little bit more crazier, right? But no, nothing's happening. Not too much. Not generally that you don't want to see that you don't see the complex, if you may, wanting to happen. Why? They're already on fourth dimension. You're on fourth dimension. You see what I mean? You got a fourth dimensional self, but it's generally controlled by their fourth dimensional adepts who know that this is the basics to even understanding enlightenment, because there are three terms: to know, to dare, to will, 4, to keep silent. Okay? I know, I dare, I will, but I will not keep silent. It is a heresy to not have the people being aware that you got fourth dimensional humans. You know what I mean? Like when you start thinking like these are reptilians, this is stupidity. Literally, when you break down the human DNA, it is built on reptilian DNA. So everybody has reptilian in them. It's a little hard for people to even get how things are all connected. Everybody's got a gene and a corrine that's in the family that's connected, because it's all connected. But now what? And this is the part that people are not getting to. All right, you know all this, but now what? See, what we are is we're what's up. What should be done? Doing it. Here it is. You still playing. You ain't even take the course. You don't even, you know what I mean? You still partying and playing in a place that has time. When the moment you enter any space that's in time, you already know, something's off. Like they said in the Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, they went into the Vegas. They lost time. Jason and the Argonauts, he went on the Isles of the Amazon. He lost time. He thought, oh man, I'm only here for a moment, but then he ended up several years, 10 years, 20 years, 100 years. This is what it's like to be in this world. Now, missing your queendom. It is missing you. This is what your body really is you still have all of the beings that you control still go, they in it with you forever. Your set of lungs, kidneys, heart, all your archons, which are your organs, those are the entities that were appointed to you. Those are the angels that were appointed to you that are under your service and your power. You see what I mean? But then if a person doesn't even understand fourth dimension, they're getting ruled by, and as I said before, everybody has a heart, everybody has a liver. So the energy of the heart and liver, which is a certain frequency, if a large amount of the hearts and livers start feeling a certain way and acting a certain way, because these organs are what give us the urges, demi-urge, meaning the lower urges from the gonads. These are the lower areas of the body. So when these urges start coming on, and they're really strong because many people are carrying the same urge. So then it becomes easy for you to be overthrown in your vessel because it's like dominoes. But as I said, some of us are still holding in. We're still the pillars. We're still the beacons. We're still the way showers. And so what we're talking about is 2026. Now, listen, it is so basic in the matrix when it comes to numbers. This year was a 9. If there are systems where you can add up the person's birthday and then that number becomes significant and you check that number back and it connects to the person, thus it hints to that this could work in other areas, like anywhere we use numbers. So even just taking the year this year and saying, is this going to be a number 9 year, and understanding number 9 traits, like number 9 is the end. Wasn't so many things over this year? Cats was still holding on. They thought that by July that it was all going to save itself before it all went down the toilet. It's all over. Why? Because next year is the new thing. We're not waiting on the old ones anymore to figure it out. It's going to happen anyway because we're moving in now to this 2026, which is 10, simplify is 1. So this gets us to a level of realizing, yo, get on your starter blocks. I'm not waiting on January. The new year started already. You should already be feeling that this next year is all about you. And then when we say, yo, I'm going to the next level, remember this conversation, my friend, of what the next level really is. And then that puts you into a position of saying, okay, I'm going to learn a little bit more about this fourth dimension and how it affects me. And also, I'm gonna learn about fourth dimension. Just go look at some YouTube videos and see how if you saw a fourth dimensional being, it would just look like a shimmer in third dimension. And then think about some of the things you may have saw sometime and been like, yo, what was that? You see what I mean? So you get a chance to switch your consciousness into realizing how you need, because some of y'all like, man, I don't know if I got any time left. Remember, the barriers of a third dimensional being do not exist for a fourth dimensional being. So some of y'all that are behind because y'all have literally been, and you can say it yourself, yo, I have been really acting a fool. Like I've been cutting up. Now I need to get in a time machine. Time machine is fourth dimension. You have to move now in becoming aware of how that shifts in your life and how you can make that transformation. But I'm just saying things that normally would take a lot of time, be too difficult to handle, be too heavy. These kind of things all get moved out of the way because of principles of fourth dimension. So I'm gonna take a breath for a moment and just kind of get some questions about this, especially from what you've absorbed so far, Rich. Like I had to come in just with a little bit of heat to let everybody understand, like, yo, like this would be extremely unfair if someone was moving like this and you were moving on that level below.
No, indeed. Yeah, you came out super hot, my brother. You came out super hot. I think that that's extremely important to know. What's interesting is that our shadow in this world, when you're talking about the shadows and you took it to a whole new level when we talk about shadow work, our shadow in this realm is black, but we're a colorful shadow. Like this whole world is a colorful shadow. So we're so used to seeing a black shadow, but we're a colorful shadow full of colors. So our fourth dimensional self has a colorful shadow. We have a black shadow. It's like, wow, it's very interesting. And I think Neville, you ever heard of Neville Goddard? Oh, what's this? Oh,
This is it. Remember, everything that we will be talking about, show me the proof.
Mm-hmm.
It's the color spectrum that actually makes all of this so colorful. Versus once you start moving into fourth dimensional space, which is like UV and X-rays, because there's real numbers to this. You see what I mean? It's a wavelength, it's a speed that gives you a certain color. And this is why they got the ghosts. Maybe like showing the ghost, he's all translucent. They're referring to fourth, fifth dimensional beings, quote unquote. Then they show the devil, he's all red, he's hot, he's fire. That's infrared. And all the beings that live down in there, microwave beings. You see what I mean?
Yeah, this is I think this is perfect timing, Sevan, to be talking about the fourth dimension. Have you ever somebody in the chat want to know, and I know a lot of you are curious to this, is the fourth dimension an astral realm?
Astral realm even sounds like a video game. Like I can't even place that term. You know, it's like, is it the astral realm? And it's like, where is that? So to make it very specific, the fourth dimension is a gateway to multiple dimensions. Okay. And because if you think about this world, this reality, is this the only world in reality? No, not at all. There's even the plants. There's even stuff that's in the ground that you can't see. And this is why it's good to learn more things about the dimension. Because first of all, like a second dimensional being, they can't even see. You know, like everything from third dimension to them, it's like a straight line. They can't even see it. Once you move to third dimension, you have this advantage over a second dimensional being because you can look over an object and see what's inside. So let's say if I put like a wall here and then I put something on the other side of that wall. Okay, I put a wall here, I put something on the other side of that wall. The two-dimensional being, it can't even see beyond the wall. You see what I mean? Because it's on that flat level. Versus three-dimensional being, I can look over the wall and tell you what's on the other side. Okay, this same kind of phenomenon, this is how it doesn't make it very complex to actually go into a fourth dimensional state of consciousness. This same concept applies in fourth dimension. Things that are invisible to third dimensional beings are there in plain sight for fourth dimensional beings. That's why a fourth dimensional being can tell you who stole it, where it is, who did it, because there is no time. All there really is what looks like signatures. It looks like energies, and you learn how to work with signatures and energies. That's why the fourth dimensional training is a training within itself. But if you go into like this, there's a lot of auto, and this is because what we were given by our ancestors is the imagination. When it said, I made them in my image, if you may, all this is referring to is that the imagination was given to us by the serpent ancestors. Okay. Why? Well, they spent 300 million years. Let me just move this chart. There it is. 300 million years thinking about this. Well, humans has been on 200,000. So in 300 million years, you develop this faculty that literally comes from like a one-dimensional, quiet, never thinking, never moving kind of thing as you back into like crystals, all the way to something that can think itself into a reality. So literally, you could throw me back on, literally what death is a moment to where
you got to put your picture back on.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch it. When you stop and then you start thinking your way back into reality. This is what you do when you go to sleep at night. You try to stop, but because the whole thing is in motion and will always be in motion, the ocean takes you. Woo! Here we go. Now we off on another journey. Don't worry, you're not gonna get tired. You shouldn't get tired. This is the fourth dimension. We don't get tired. We don't die. This is why you see yourself in a dream. You be like right before a car accident, and you wake up. Yeah, yo, you ever, had times in a dream right when you die, you be like, yo, I'm out. You wake up like, shit, he must be dead. No, there is no such thing as death on the fourth dimension. And this is why you have to move at least to that next stage in your consciousness, and then look from there at your three-dimensional shadow. Because listen to this, look at this. So I'm at least a fourth dimensional being in a three-dimensional body, looking at you, an at least fourth dimensional being on a two-dimensional screen. Come on, man. Can you not just from there of how you could be a multi-dimensional being but be perceived through different mediums?
Powerful.
And powerful. So when we start thinking about, hey, where are these high dimensional beings? Yo, they're right in your face.
Wow.
They're already, they're in full action. There's no space and time for them, nor should it be for you. Mm-hmm. But also, I will say this. Now, remember, first grade, second grade, third grade, fools rush in. Like, we have to learn how to enjoy the educational side of the universe's university. Why do you think they call it universe? United but against. That's just what we were talking about before. United but individual. What is this? It's the university. But if you don't learn, there's a penalty. And this is why, like, this advanced consciousness is moving through. So you say, hey, yo, what is 3i Atlas? I'm 3i Atlas. I was 2012. You see what I mean? I'm the rapture. What is this all about? It's about a point of true singularity where you're able to merge all the secrets and then allow them to serve you. You see what I mean? Rather than becoming a servant of it, right? And, and because that's really the stilo around here is you'll notice that they try to get you to be a slave. That's why they try to cast that on us. Yo, y'all slaves, right? Because still the overall thing is really about spiritual slavery. This is why the people in the world are spiritually enslaved. The highest thing that they can conceive, they've already put up generally a picture of a person there, short-circuiting their own kundalini, valuing something over themselves. And so in this way, because again, let's just go through it. Like, so the ancestry, some people are like, yo, so what happened? What is the ancestors? Ancestors live on fourth dimension. This is like the story of the ancient ones versus the elder gods. Like, nobody is coming back into 3D to quote unquote save a god. If you want some action, go to fourth dimension or higher, at least where beings still can maintain their sovereignty without getting locked into dominion. Okay? I'm just going to spin through some images here just to flex it a bit, right? About the ancestors. So what I'm showing you lineages, okay? Lineages of ancestors that even on the walls and in the carvings, you see those little holes on the side of their head, like the lizards had the little holes on the side of their heads and the monitors had the little holes on the side of their head. You see what I mean? So we've been through a lot when we're talking about the ancestors. These are the Nagas, the Kola kings, the original empires, if you may. And then we've watched, and I love to throw this one up. We've watched the truth, which is all the way over there on the left, come to a half truth. She even lost a few dress sizes. To a complete truth, desecrated. Meaning now this is Venus, also known as Lucifer or Phosphorus, the brightest star in the night sky, literally gets a makeover all the way to what we hit 2025 is some wraith sitting there with wings skinny and a male as being Lucifer. You see what I mean? And so it's really about, again, these programs, the IP, Because now you can't go and say, okay, yeah, that's why I'm a Luciferian. Somebody's got all that IP already. That means something in the codes now of everybody's minds in the matrix.
That's deep.
So now you would need to understand the principles, but the terms in themselves, they're burned. Unless you get on other realities where, again, these are not even the words that are being used. These are not even the tones that are being used. Everything is speaking frequency. That's why it's easy to, nobody can hide what they are. Or nothing can hide what it is because you see it on its whole aura and its whole field. It's like we're all naked there. You see what I mean? So yeah, man, let's dial in. How much time we got? We got 30 minutes. Is that what we got?
Yeah, about 30. Yeah, Sevan. I want to give a shout out real quick. Let me share this for the family. Let me hold up. Give me 1 second, family. Share screen. Okay. I want to give a shout out to Nathan. So y'all know we got the workshop coming up with me, Sevan, and Red Pill. I got an email from Nathan. Nathan said, I received the cigars that you sent me yesterday. Thank you for everything that you do and you have done for the community. There are no words for the achievements that have come from your efforts. You helped me you inspired me to create my first app. I have not done any marketing for it as of yet because I'm still building apps for other purposes, as well as getting ready for this AI class that we are getting ready to have. So the purpose, family, of this AI class that we are about to engage in, and I hope the majority of y'all have signed up, is for us to have a level of sovereignty, for us to have a level of spiritual sovereignty, financial sovereignty, for us to move when we want to move, for us to free up time in this realm to do what we love to do. One way to do that is to have a knowledge of technology where you could automate things. This brother here created an app, and I want to show y'all the app because I want to tell the brother something. He doesn't even know I'm gonna do this, but this is the brother's app. See yourself living your dreams, not stock photos, not generic images. You AI powered vision boards that put your face into every scene. So the very first show with me and Red and Sevan, we was like, yo, this AI is able to create vision boards on steroids. This brother went ahead and did the damn thing. Nathan, shout out to you, brother. I'm proud of this, brother. I want everybody to check out. This is what it's all about, family. What I want to tell everybody is, because we're not just talking the talk. Everybody who signs up for the workshop, whatever you create, as a result of the AI workshop, I'm going to plug it for you. I'm going to promote it for you. I'm going to give it a shout out on my show because I want the world to see what comes as a result of our workshop. Everybody wants to know, well, what happened after the workshop? Has anything changed? Yes, this brother has created an app that's a vision board on steroids. I mean, we could get into the whole science of mirror neurons and neuroplasticity and the fourth dimensional thinking and Neville Goddard and what Sevan Bomar just talked about. All I'm going to say is this is it right here. This is it right here. Shout out to this brother. He got the steps. Upload your selfie, describe your vision, watch AI create your video. Family, this is where we're taking it. This is where we're taking it with this technology. We're being responsible with this technology. We're not letting this technology control us. We're controlling it. Nathan, shout out to you. Like I said, let me share this link for everybody in the chat. Everybody who signs up to this workshop, November 1st and 2nd, online workshop, Sevan Bomar and Red Pill. Everybody who signs up, whatever you create out of that workshop, send it to me. I got about 500,000 subscribers. I get thousands of views every video. I'm going to make sure I put it in front of the masses. It might take a while because it's a lot of y'all. But I'm going to make sure I plug. Each and every one of y'all who created something as a result. I plug it. I'm not going to have it up for a month or nothing. Like, no, I'm going to put it up like I showed Nathan Love. There's over 1,200 people. Nathan said he didn't start marketing yet. Nathan, don't worry about it. I started marketing for you because I appreciate what you did, my brother. You signed up for the workshop and you put in the work already. I could imagine what you're going to do after the knowledge of the workshop with this app and with this website. Shout out to Nathan. Just had to say that, Sevan. I'm so proud of the brother, Sevan. And this is what it's all about, Sevan. This is what it's all about.
Absolutely. Like it's actually putting the action into it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like this whole thing in 2025, like it's just about you being early. You know what I mean? There's still, the train is moving, but we're already gone quantum. And also, all of this stuff applies to the next layer because you learn how to send commands. You're wasting time with please at times,
Yeah.
like please, thank you. You know what I mean? That's what you guys say to everybody to keep them from getting mad at you, right? Where this thing is like, look, just tell me what to do and let's get it done. And of course, we're moving on a high level. It's already began too. Like, man, I gotta just say, like, Red and Spin City put together like a workshop already the other day.
In the Discord. In the Discord.
There was some stuff that was revealed that I hadn't even seen and played around with. And so there's a tools area. There's stuff already happening, is what I'm saying. So we're not even waiting until the first to go in. That's really going to be about form, craft, and really to dial in all the specifics. It's happening there now. Creators going to create, and that's what's really going on. So yeah, I mean, to me, this is the precipice because we've been on this YouTube and we've been delivering a lot of wisdom, and our wisdom has met application. And the thing about this is that it's removing the barrier to entry for anything that you have a passion to do.
Right.
If you put time in, you're going to actually get results versus times that you put time or energy or even currency into something and then barely got almost anything out of it. If you've had that happen so many times that it's even killed your idea, this is really the time to revitalize that idea for 2026 because it can definitely happen and beyond. So we're going to be addressing everyone even directly. Like I'm personally going to go in where, anybody's going to be able to ask me exactly how it could apply to them and what they do. You know what I mean? Because I'm well weathered in this. I've been around since the Da Vinci days, before, it was really, really, really that. I was getting banned for it. Let's just put it like that. I was getting blacklisted for talking about AI in the community all the way till now where, everybody is talking about it. So there's obviously going to be an advantage and I'm ready to pass that advantage as I always do. Yeah.
Right. Shout out to everybody in the Discord. If you're wondering what's that on the screen, that's the family that's in the Discord. We got an AI art section. Shout out to everybody making the AI art. We got the Q&A. We got the tools. We got the AI daily news. We got the research white papers, PDFs. And then, of course, you got the general tab where everybody kicking it. Seven's in there, kicking it with the family. We got Spin City in there. We got Red Pillar in there. It's going down, family. I want all, like I said, everybody, family, I want all of us to have that level of sovereignty and peace of mind where we don't have to worry about certain things in this realm. We don't have to worry that we used to worry about when we were fully invested in the matrix. I want us to create our own matrix within the matrx. So, and I think
love to Zach Jack. Like, I don't even think he sleeps. Like, sometimes I wonder. And Amp also, those are just brothers that are in the chat and, and doing their thing. Like, just came into place, didn't really need to be told anything,
right,
and immediately began delivering value to everyone that's there. And so, yes, this is that new vibe, for what it takes to really get things done.
Indeed. Yeah, it's beautiful when you have a community outside of social media because there's so much noise on social media. Yeah. So I'm glad that we have somebody said, how do I sign in the Discord? Did you get your ticket yet, Lin Lu? These are for people who got their tickets. I just sent out another Discord, some links yesterday. So everybody should have it, unless sometime the links don't work. So I know I got to resend it to some of y'all. But yeah, this Discord is for whoever signed up for the AI workshop. It's been going down for about a month now. It's going to continue until the workshop. and we're gonna see. Okay, Lin Lu. Yeah. Okay. Well, email me. You should have the link. I sent it to whatever emails registered with Eventbrite. But I mean, it's just amazing to see. I'm always excited when these things go down. Okay, please resend. Okay. Yeah, I'm always excited when these things go down. Because it's good to see the people benefit from it. It's good to see what y'all come up with. I want the geniuses, the nerds, whatever, the cool people, all of y'all sign up for the workshop. It's gonna be a beautiful thing. Sevan, I want to ask you when you talk about, I want to get biblical for a second, because I know you know how to break down the esoterics of the Bible. When you say fourth dimensional, if we're talking about fourth dimensional thinking, is that when the Bible says be in this world but not of it? Is that the definition of a fourth dimensional person, being in this
Absolutely.
world but not of it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's really a trick of disassociation, if you may. It's like they could teach this another way. And that's why I said, some people become aware of the matrix by entirely different means, because really what you're doing is you're trying to shift the consciousness into a certain mode. And this mode allows it to actually get out of itself, which we call out of the body. But it is just a simple phenomena of being able to kind of step outside of yourself and self-analyze yourself and really realize that, hey, who are you talking to? When you're talking inside of your mind, who are you talking to? Okay. So there's a dialogue happening here because there are other energies that are comprised in your being. Like there's agreements, like even the hand, if when you get on different frequencies, you'll see like different parts of the body really move on their own volition in a certain way. Even each finger, that's why I say, hey, each of these fingers relate to a planet, because you even look at the fingers and see almost like many beings on each finger. You see what I mean? And so this is a relationship with self, but it's also telling you the story because you are the story. So the composition of your being is your different phases throughout the existence so far. And, all the ancient teachings start getting deep into even the animals and the roles that they play. And even in these new times where you got these super developed worlds where they even produce more ka by making more cats and dogs. You see what I mean? Because the cat and the dog, the level of the degree of their spirits is higher than, that's why they go, hey, this is a domesticated animal. That just means, hey, it is closer to being a human. So when that dies, that ka can actually be put into or become a vessel of a human being can congeal around them. You see what I mean? Congeal. What do we say? Slow down light is what we are. So this is, remember you had a dream and you'd be running slow. Second dimension dream. Any dream where you start going downstairs or you see scorpions, beetles, snakes, you're in the nether region. You're in the lower dimensions, if you may. Not that they don't mean anything and that they're less. You see what I mean? But that you're in the foundation. So sometimes if you can't get it accomplished on the third dimension, you can move low. You can move onto one of the, I work from the higher dimension. I call it fun. We don't work. Work is war. That's all lower dimension. Work, warfare, all these words. Week means Wicca. The word week that we use for the 7 days is Wicca because it's worshiping 7 gods. See what I mean? This is stuff this is a ritual. It's a worldwide ritual going on. It involves numbers. It involves dates. So in that way, like the singing, the music, and all this kind of stuff, it's all a part of something that is aware of that it wants to control this matrix. What are we in? Let's taper it down here. What happened? What's going on right now? Let's talk about that. What's going on right now? See, there was a group of men who they started saying, well, shoot, even the oligarchs now are going to die off in about 70 years. And all their industries, because of how the world works, are going to be they're going to be gone. There's going to be new industries. So if that's going to happen in like 60, 70 years, are we able to position ourselves so we could be the controllers of the new world when the world flips over to its next level? And they went to work. They start building the technology. This is why, Ellison is a good thing to look at to understand more about this and the connections between behind the scenes with Palantir and Brin and all the, if you wanted to study that. But I could tell you what it's all going to lead to is that, yes, they're really in a club. Yes, they really do have access to this technology, not only fourth dimension, but also even like the overarch stuff, meaning other planetary entries, other secrets about the matrix, the crystals, right? The knowledge of the crystals is, you see the crystals are sitting on the oldest, as we talked about before. They're sitting in the oldest. So there's more knowledge to be gleaned, knowledge from the light. You see what I mean? This is why all the Freemasonry, Illuminati, Luciferian, all this stuff is about the light. We got to get the light. It's because there's information in light. But also, based on your own training and your own awareness, you could only handle a certain amount of degrees of the light. Wisdom is measured in degrees. Bachelor's degree, master's degree. Temperature is measured in degrees. 6 degrees, 100 degrees. So this is a measure of energy and light. And so how much you can take in without what happens. Like we was talking about the other day, some of my friends say, yo, what happened to young Pharaoh? Yo, what even happened to Polite? Yo, what happened to, and it was just going off on different names. And if you go check some of the last videos, which there's a few channels, they love the dish. There was some skipping wheels going on, meaning that it's the actual consciousness started stripping. Too much energy, all the money coming in. That's why all the time it's not great for everybody to be throwing you all up on their shoulders. You got to understand how to balance that energy, play back, fall back. Don't let everybody see your life. Don't let everybody get involved in your family and all this kind of things too heavy. Know how to measure that out, right? Because this world, it'll eat you alive. So those kind of ways of moving, those are the mysterious ways of moving so that you can endure and you can accomplish your mission. And then, as we said, like, to still remember, there's another level to this. And this level, like, they understand it. Like, you know that the highest read and published book from an entire interim was the Bible and the book of Euclid. What is it? The book of Euclid? Let me see what it's called. The book of. So basically, the second most read book in the world, in history, is Euclid's Elements of Geometry, not the Bible, during a large period. And then the Bible began to gain on it, and the Bible passed it, of course. And it's, what does it talk about? It's just geometry. So geometry, this shows you where math, or Ma'at, is the real secret society, if you may. Because there's a secret language spoken. Just like if I show you trigonometry and a mathematical equation, it's going to be like, yo, I don't understand that. Like, what does that mean? Because it's a secret language. Only the people that are in that society know it. But I'm here to say, though, that the geometry was basic. It did come to them through Pythagoras. Pythagoras got it from the Greeks, which were Troy, the Hellenes, the oracles, Hellas. You see what I mean? The Trojan horse and all that. That's all Cassandra. That's a whole nother story about how the Black Empire just, you see what I mean? But the keys, the master keys that are in there only unfold to one thing. And that's what I'm here to bring you today. It unfolds into the fourth dimension. This is what they're trying to keep everybody from realizing anything about. They want people to operate in time, thinking that they really die. And in that way, they can exact dominion over them. And then the limits of the third dimension, which would be like, you think, yo, I need to breathe. Oh, I'm thirsty. When you reach the fourth dimension, none of that stuff it doesn't even play in. That's how the yogis be sitting there. They be on fourth dimension, and the third dimensional body just gets skinny. It's just enough to keep it alive, but they don't need food and they don't need all of that. They don't feel any of the urges because they've mastered the archons. They've mastered all of the urges, if you may. And this is where, that's why I said, but there's different teachings. Someone else can do that exact thing by going into the periodic table and taking certain elements and ingesting them elements. That person, the other person, be like, no, this is the wrong way. You're doing the wrong way, and he'd be over there, and end up being the god of all of them. You see what I mean? This is the kind of world.
You
This
spent
world
some
is
shit
so
tonight,
wild.
Sevan. Yo, you spent some shit tonight, my brother. Pardon the language.
You know what I mean? I'm glad you love it, but this world is so wild. It's like the world is watching to see how wild it can get. It's not sitting there like, okay, we need to move in. Yeah. I heard a brother the other day. He said something that shit had me cracking up for a long time. He was like, yo, why doesn't God just kill the devil? Damn. And I'm like, yo, this is my kind of people right here. What is it, God? Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Why doesn't God just kill the devil and stop all of this mess? You see what I mean? Yeah. Because both of them are an invention in many ways. So if you don't wake up to what you are and get on to the next level, then both of these eidolons will be running crazy on your forehead. But you still got people still running around with even pictures of Apollonius of Tyana, which is the Jesus you're looking at. Pictures of Apollonius, like, yo, Apollonius. And then it's getting so wicked in the system that they're enforcing it with a forked tongue, double bind. If you get in, you're bound. That's how you could kill a Martin Luther King or MLK or a Moloch. You could kill him if he bows down. So when you pledge allegiance, because this is about principalities, this is how our power was took. It's by worshiping a warship. They pull up in warships. You see what I mean? Like, look at the annals of history. It literally shows you, nigga, we was under attack. You see what I mean? And then at the end of the day, when you're hee and ha and I'm playing around and all that type of stuff, and your kids and your mother and your brother and your sister and everybody is perishing, not that they die, but that they go through bad experience, and then that is written on the chain, the blockchain DNA. As long as we boot up the ledger, which is where all the value is in the tokens, in the energies, in the currencies, every time we boot it up, then whatever is in the string will become animate. And this is why if it's too much of that, then when we hit in the fourth dimension, all of our hearts, because they sync, our organs, they sync. You see what I mean? All of what we are, it synchronizes. Then we're in the Cadman, which is the fourth dimensional body, okay? The fourth dimensional body is all the bodies in one body. You see what I mean? But all of those bodies in the condition of them, which we call the collective consciousness, makes up the whole of the being and what it can do, what it can perceive, what it can. And you see, we may still be at a level where we're still trying to figure out how to conceive that. But I tell you, we surpassed that already at a stage. We surpassed that. We had figured all of that out, and we went beyond that. Now we're underneath it. This is called In the Shadow of Hermes, where they show that some of the gods, quote unquote, using the Ka and drawing the Ka in the Ba and the energy back into their bodies to preserve themselves immortally, literally became vampires. Literally became just like you see most of the stars and actors, where they will suck everybody's energy out through their money. Their money is their time. Time is the real quotient when death is at play. So time is the real quotient. So a person goes and works, that's 8 hours. Even with AI, you could get a lot of stuff done, but you still got to put the time in. It just made it possible. But now you still got to put the time in. But that time integer, this is the most valuable thing. And so when they can harvest time from you, harvest your memories, or create even the memories that you experience, nah, man, we can't. No, we're not doing that. 2026, it's a wrap. And so somebody said, hey, all that saviorship, I'm not with that. Somebody said that in the chat, right? Because it's the rebellion. It's always like, they don't want a leader, right? But my mom led me. My mom saved me. So what do I look like telling her, I don't want no saviorship? Shit. If you can help me, I will receive your help. If you felt that I was over here and I was so high and mighty that I said I didn't want help, excuse me. I didn't mean to convey it that way. I could get as much assistance as I can get in this. So I just wanted to say that, because, you know, it's like this attitude where we want to do it all ourselves, right? But yet if I snatch air from you, you cannot breathe. If I snatch water from you, we got only a certain period of time. Even how we're juxtaposed with the plants is that they can survive longer without certain things than we can, and we can survive certain things without they can. That shows you what was the adaptation process and how long it took for us to gain certain powers and certain abilities to adapt and to endure this space way before there was Trumps. There was volcanoes, nigga. There were hurricanes that blew our entire everything away until we learn how to tame that by becoming it. Like Dan Winter says, hey, become the controllable, steerable tornado. Okay, none of that happens on a third dimensional mindset. I'm here to tell you, you break all laws and rules and all that of what is conceived within that lowly state. If you stoop to it, you got to go right into, and then this is what you're doing. I want to give you the formulas and keys. Where are we at? We got 15 more minutes. Listen, what are you doing? What's literally happening is an alchemist, Al-Kim, master of the blackness. This is the vapor, the cause, the baz, the actual formulas of energy. What you're doing when you hit fourth dimension as an alchemist is you're opening doors, taking ka, and closing doors. Okay? And what am I saying taking? Let me clarify this. When you stick your hand into a dimension, all of what that dimension is gets on your hands. And when you pull your hand back and you close the door, and I'm saying that as a metaphor, what that is made out of is still in your hands. These are the creators, right? Even they created the language. Without them being able to write the languages down, nobody would be able to remember them. This is the hands. They are the creators, okay? And so when you going into these dimensions, as I say, yo, one of the number one techniques of lucid dreaming is just look at your hands. There's a reason for that. So what you're doing is that you're accessing the formula. You don't got to know how to do this because this information is not in your brain. You just have to know you can do it. And when you open up these doors, like I said, what you're doing is you're putting together a formula of how to achieve what it is that the transformations that need to take place in your life for you to get above the speed of light. These are the circumstances and the sequences that need to happen for you to get to the next stage. Because when you're not managing that, oh boy, the Jah loves to manage this, meaning that there are a myriad of countless entities sitting in these spaces that are like what you would call spirits, but thousands of them can be even assigned to a person. What is their job? Their job is to try to get you to do what the prediction is saying that you're going to do. Okay, so let me put it this way. Even weird stuff like you argue with your wife that morning, then all of a sudden you walking down the street, you see a shorty. Then you would have never thought about talking to the shorty, but because of the argument, now you link up with her. And then this caused you to be over at a certain place at a certain time. You see? So your whole life, you being almost like a piece on a board. She's one of these geometries, a piece on a board being moved into a space. So that way another group of sequences can also go on. So the overarch can continue to maintain the matrix. This matrix, because remember, there's many of them. And if you could have one on your own, can't we just trying to get big boats? Imagine having a whole matrix. This is how serious it is. This is why they will want one of these. You know, why we may give it away. You know what I mean? It's like the matrix is valuable to have one of these, right? And so I just wanted to make sure that is clear.
Yo, man, Sevan.
Is that you're going to the fourth dimension to get the ingredients. Okay, you gotta move in a place that there's really no time because you gotta go to different places to get the ingredients to make a series of sequences happen that equate to he was just happening, saying the right place at the right time. You was in the right place at the right time. Then all of a sudden this happens, then you meet this person, and then that happens, and then this, and next thing you know, within 6 months, you're in the layer cake. And I'm not even talking about just the money thing. You figured out certain parts of sovereignty even by then. Why? Because you left the third dimensional frame of consciousness and you went into the fourth dimension. Everything that they've always been talking about, like, the secret sold 200, 300, I don't know how much. They probably made $1 billion off the secret. It's only one concept of just realizing. You know what I mean? They made a living off of this for real, all of them, right? But just the concept alone was that powerful that you could think yourself into what it is that you want to happen next. But see, I'm here to give you the mechanics of what goes on behind the scenes so that you understand exactly how it works. So then you won't have the limitation of thinking that this could just be used to park cars. Like they was talking about, yo, I'm mad at what I'm going to do from Brittany. And now every day when I think about where I want to park my car, I just imagine the car park there. And then I turn around and the car park is there. Oh, I love the secret. I'm like, my dude, this is not for parking cars.
Yeah.
Only. Do you know what this can do? And guess what? We need it.
Yo, nah, I think, listen, I'm a student today. Seven is straight. This is channeling. This is not teaching. This is channeling. You know what I live for? I'm at Seven. You know what I live for? And I could just, and this is why sometimes I watch sports and things. I live to see electricity, moving electricity, and watching you. I'm watching electricity. I'm watching fire. Like, this is beautiful to see, and poetry in motion. But before we get out of here, I'm super excited about the workshop that's about to go down. Let me share the link again. And I got one question before we get out of here. This is a brilliant show. This show is a masterpiece, y'all. This is a masterpiece. And this is perfect. Seven coming right after Minister Jew, because Minister Jew straight Neville Goddard material. So this is a perfect follow-up to the Minister Jew show, family. But before we get out of here, because we've been talking about the fourth dimension, geometry, and everything of that nature, and I want to show you something. And I got a question, because we're talking about fourth dimensional thinking, fourth dimensional living. Let me get rid of this right here. They say, this is what they say, Seven. They say every structure in existence emerges from these five shapes, Seven. They say these aren't just shapes. They are the only perfect forms that can exist in 3D space. The cube, the tetrahedron, octahedron, dodecahedron, icosahedron. Each face is identical. Each angle is the same. Each sits perfectly inside a sphere. Crystals from cubes. Viruses build isohedrons. DNA encodes the dodecahedral geometry. And shout out to Jane Academy, because I got some of this information from Jane Academy. They say galaxies spin in toroidal fields shaped by these same forms. The universe is structured by geometry. Seven, I've heard a lot about these solids. In terms of the fourth dimension, if we want to bring something, and say if I have an idea, let's say Seven, let's say I want a job, or let's say I want something to manifest from the fourth dimension. I've heard this before. You could write certain things or envision certain things. Which shape, if I want to manifest wealth from the fourth dimension to this dimension, which one of these shapes here, Seven, should I concentrate on some magical quantum manifestation? Is there a certain shape you concentrate on, since the whole structure is formed by these shapes right here, Seven?
Yeah, it depends on what the person perceives as wealth. Like, I got those same geometrics sitting right in my hand right now. I look at them every single day. And really, these principles in themselves, because to show you the last one, which is Aether, this is the level that's what I'm saying. When I say, hey, yo, we move on this higher level, we're moving in the solid that unites all the solids. Most of the time in the Matrix, they're working with that first element that you see there, the fire. Okay, that's the fighting. That's also phi. And so really, it's a principle that when it doesn't have water, that's what we always say, hey, every day summer is eventually a desert, right? So it sounds great to want to have summer every day. But then when you look at fire, you understand how fire generates wealth within the planet, especially through warfare even. But then you also look at water and you say, well, water can achieve abundance too, right? Obviously, because it makes things grow. So what you're really looking at, and then how could you separate earth? After all, so each one of these you can say is a different kind of abundance, if you may, or a different property that correlates to abundance. But then there's higher principles to these properties. Like one of these geometries, if you may, stand for the earth. One of them stand for man. The other one stands for the sun. The other one stands for, you see, and then when you combine them, you get all of the elements in the 3D reality. So what these really are, to move a system that I think is oversimplified at times out of the way, are really the keys to the molecular bonds. Okay, let's just make it very clear. What we're talking about here is we're talking about the molecular structure, something that is not amorphous, like something like glass and something like plastic is amorphous, meaning that it doesn't actually have a molecular structure versus everything else in the matrix. It has a molecular structure. And when you go underneath the microscope and you look at it, once you crush it all the way down, you'll see that it will bear one of these shapes. The core, though, is sugar and salt. Okay. Notice how, if you ask yourself, so what are the plants really doing? Which is questions that you have when you enter hypersentience with the sun's energy, you'll find out that long word photosynthesis sounds nice and chlorophyll, they know, but they don't really think about what is the end game process for this plant. What is it doing with all this? It's creating sugar. Okay, sugar happens to be the name for Azukar, who is Azazel, who is also Osiris. These are basic building blocks to realms and frequencies and dimensions, right? This is the cube in itself as salt or Sal, their king. You see what I mean? They chose Sal or salt as their king. This is why the water is salt water, right? And then you got fresh water, and these are two different kingdoms, right? And so then it's only Salmon or Solomon who can be in the salt water and in the fresh water, because that's its journey as it goes down these ancient rivers, which are themselves big ley lines that also correspond to the same passageways through the cosmos, meaning that the design, which is the same design within your body and the same design within, continuously shows the map to the whole thing. So there's never really anywhere that you need to go except for within. You see what I mean?
Shit.
And then what this is the speculative side. Now we have to attempt to visualize fourth dimension, which they already tell you right away, we cannot visualize fourth dimension and third dimension. We could create some shapes and some solids and stuff to kind of give us guidelines to learn by, but we cannot do it. But some just go right past that. And then all of a sudden they assume that this tesseract is actually the symbol of the new next dimension. And it's like, did we just tell you that this is only for learning principles? This is what they, or like explanatory principles, right? So they'll do the same thing with the cross. They took the cross, and then the symbol meant one thing, and then now all of a sudden they deify, they run around, and they got the cross on their neck and everything. Nobody knows what it really means. This is the thing that the world does, and you got to sit back and be able to analyze that too and be like, if I'm just going to look at what everybody else is doing and listen to what they're doing, how are they not even looking at this? If we say we're going to the next level, just redundancy, how are we not knowing about the fourth dimension? This is what I woke up to, Rich. Meaning that at the end of the day, I feel like the reason why there is a purpose here is because I didn't have my dad like, son, I think you're ready. You know what I mean? And open up the cabinet, like, look, here's your door, J-Rod. First of all, you got a zap coming. You got 10 millivolts coming from these two fingertips right here, especially if the crystals within your feet haven't calcified that area, right? If not, we'll push on that area, we'll crack that crystal, you hold that door, Jay. Then this will send the voltage into the brass and then back into your fingers again, over and over to charge you up. You see what I mean? So just real like, okay, check, I got it, Dad. All right, so also your third eye. Now remember, this is gonna be a little scary. It's gonna be like you're coming out of a husk, but after that, you're gonna be able to see everything clearer. And you're never going to forget this again. You see, so just a step-by-step tutelage of how do I understand more about who this being we're calling Sevan Bomar is. You see what I mean? That's not what I came into. I came into, hey, we won't itemize it, but I'm just saying I came into a purpose. I came into a space that said, hey, they didn't really value this in this time as much to investigate deeply these mysteries. And that is their Achilles heel. We're a spiritual people. We work with fourth dimension. When it comes to three-dimensional stuff, we don't do very well working from this level. It's easy to see that. You see what I mean? That's why we're spiritual people. It's like, yo, why would we go like grab these crazy utensils to try to handle this when we could just handle it with our minds? So what we got tied into was like this, okay? You see this right here? That's my keyboard. You say, I've been banging it out, right? How fast do you think you can push a message across this than how fast your mind really goes? Which one do you think is faster?
The mind.
Obviously, way faster. But if I got to cram everything in my mind down this, what does that do to me? It degrades me. You see what I mean? So that's why it's... Go ahead.
I don't mean to cut you off, but that's why Big said he didn't like writing his lyrics down, and he just spit straight. And Jay-Z from the top of his head, because it slows down the process. It slows down the channeling of it. So they just want to go in the booth and just spit it straight from the top of their head.
Dictate. That's the word, right? He just want to dictate. That's the boss. That's the level you should be on. We just sending commands here. There's no floating integer. You see what I mean? Like, think about this. Like, when I want to have a great time and I want to have a pleasure, that's a feeling.
Right.
When I'm going to talk, we're going to get right to it. You see what I mean? So that's what talking and on that level, that's what that really was for us. It was about dictating and actually sending commands. It's a phallic process in that way. It's penetrating, it's poking, it's power. You see, it's the P, right? And in that way, it has a certain kind of mode. It has a certain kind of energy. So that's all I'm saying is that once we dial into this and we lock in on it, just like we would lock in on anything else look, I want to finish this real quick, 5 minutes. This is called, I said, we created a monster. Those guys that I was talking about earlier, just finished my conversation. When they sat down, these are the tech billionaires, and said, hey, do we have a real go at the future when Rockefeller dies? Let me show you just how sleek the matrix is, right? How did USDT, these are stable coins, USDT, USDC, and now USD1 all become the top stable coin cryptos, even during the time where it looked like the US government was against cryptos. And then just now today, most people are figuring out that even the USDT, which is one of the oldest ones, is actually the US government and was actually backed by, in most times, US treasuries, which are the debt. Right. So even when they were saying, everybody, hey, we hate crypto, Gensler, everybody, they was still, and people knew this in the community, but now you really know it. They was deeply involved. You see what I mean? How do you expect any other person could even name their currency or money or energy, USD, anything, without them folks knocking on the door? What are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, you think it is, unless it's them. But see, it goes under the radar. People think it's somebody else. The dude from the Wonder Years, literally the dude from the Wonder Years is also a part of this, right? So it's like, this is a club. And so in the end, now you see it's gotten big. It's YouTube itself. It's Instagram itself. It's Meta itself, right? These are the tech billionaires that replace Rothschilds, Rockefellers, etc. And then they got a vision. They got a plan. But I got one bigger. You see? So there's this little conundrum here because I'm working on the metaphysical, fourth dimensional, fifth dimensional. And I'm instructing my people to do the same so that way we can dial in. You see what I mean? And we're going to be equipping, all 2026 is equipping. I'm going to equip people with chakra suits first. Put on the whole armor. I know the whole armor, which is the crystals that are necessary that we activate with. You see what I mean? That's what Aaron was wearing when Moses was with him, the whole shin. You see what I mean? So it's like, we got to go forward. We won't be going back. You know what I'm saying? We got to go back to, now this stuff takes you forward. We got to go forward to where we were at so we can resume. And then on our way through this, we will clean it up. You know what I mean? I'll clean this up before I go. I'll help do my part in cleaning the oceans and setting this on a trajectory to become a class A civilization. They got to rank the civilizations, right? So the highest, to go back in that direction, if you may, and then still learn from this stint, which I feel like we all need, just like sometimes you need a good ass kicking, when discipline times happening, this little stint where we almost let the most diabolical force of all time, which is the unbalanced aspects of ourselves, the accumulation, That's what they call it, the klipot, the shells. We're done. The accumulation, this is what the Kabbalists call it. They say, hey, all of these, they call even the Kaaba itself. They say, hey, this is accumulations of man's sins. We're talking about, it's the shells. It's the accumulation of the things when somebody's sad, when somebody gets hurt or harmed, all that accumulates somewhere. What we are the things that know how to alchemically transform those energies. And when we're doing our work, then prayers are getting answered. Honorings are getting answered. There's a long list of things that our people are asking for, and we're literally the gods that are supposed to be fulfilling that list. You see what I mean? But it won't happen in third dimension like this. And so I wanted to say wholeness and balance vibration to everybody. I wanted to also, of course, send personal love to my brother Rich here, who has continued to sojourn through this journey, like, and just doing incredible things, conceiving certain things and then deploying. Like, he's easy on the deployment button. Like, he's always hovering over the deployment button, like, yo, let's do this. You see what I mean? And that's rare. You see what I mean? And so that position as a bridge, I recognize myself because I am one. But it is a very key role to getting a person from one stage to the next. You see what I mean? One stage to the next. So giving thanks to the bridges, giving thanks to the pillars that are holding this up, giving thanks also to the ancient ones, the ancestors, also giving thanks to our elders who are listening to the conversation. Like, there's a lot of elders in this group. They've trickled down from, pioneers like Phil Valentine, pioneers that are just, they did what they did. They set the pace. You see what I mean? How is you removing other things from another man's eat? This will all be just accolades in the end, just memories. What did you do? So I want to give thanks for all of the memories. And I also want to give thanks for the point where we'll all get together and I'll be like, yo, did you see me in that drink last night? Be like, yo. And lastly, the one in the future where we like, yo, man, we was on Earth. That was a trip, right?
That's gonna be a good one. Yo, remember we was on Earth? Remember that Earth shit? That's gonna be.
You wouldn't even believe. You wouldn't believe in me, huh? We gonna do one of those, yo. You wouldn't even believe me, huh? Now look, and I tell you, how do we know that's gonna happen? How do we know that's gonna happen? Because I've had things happen in my life that were even beyond that. Serious. I've lived through and experienced certain thing that was like, in the moment I was like, yo, this is real. So it shows, yo, this is a pattern. We can keep taking this. It's just all about where you're ready to go. So yeah, 2026, here we come. Y'all check out the AI masterclass. We're going in. Like I said, there's already so much value in that. Like, that's setting the trajectory. If you feel like if you even got a son, like sometimes it may not be you. You just like, yo, I'm not in. I'm not in. I get it. If I didn't have to be in, I wouldn't be in either. I'm looking forward to the day I turn all this shit off and throw it in the trash because I know what it's about, to be honest. But I got to go through what I got to go through to do what I need to do for my legacy and my children's legacy. You see, it's glorious. But at the end of the day, still recognize real. Like, I know all of this stuff. Like, I move like somebody is watching, because I'm already too mobile not to be watched. And so remember what I said today, though, also tribe, like, yo, go to another level on them.
Man, what a show. I mean, this is beautiful to watch. I mean, pure electricity, electrical. This dude was on fire the whole show. Appreciate you, Sevan.
I on fire, yo. I had to keep a fan under my shirt, yo. Like, yo, like, nuclear.
Yo, family, if y'all heard him today, I don't know why y'all would not sign up for this workshop. It is going down. We're all in the Discord right now. So everybody who signs up, I'm gonna send out another Discord link tonight, and email me if you already signed up. I'm gonna put my email right now, and you're having an issue with the Discord link. Don't email me if you didn't buy a ticket. I'm a check. So if you bought your ticket and you're having an issue, you can email me at richandmerritt@yahoo.com. One quick question before we get out of here, Sevan. And make sure you sign up, family. I want us all in there. This is the talk. This is the vibe we need to be on. This fourth dimensional mindset. This is the vibe. Oh, this is beautiful to watch tonight and be a part of. Sevan, do you think that, since we're talking about geometry, do you think that shape influenced your energy of the show tonight? Do you think that had any type of influence on your energy level, that cube you got or whatever?
Man, I mean, during the show to be honest, the greatest influence comes from when I can dial into what I know I'm here to do. And the thing about it is, what my people is, they need to hear it a certain way. So to be able to get on that
Yeah.
frequency
Yeah.
is what I'm really shooting for. Now I got a lot of stuff around me right now. I'm a little overboard, if you may. Me and I got cuboctahedron sitting in here. You know what I mean? Also, do get with me because I finally redid your watch because for a while I just stopped making watches, and because it's the whole process. Like one day I would just like film the whole process so they could see how many steps this is and how many actually go to the trash can because it's like an imperfection or something like that. So I pushed out a few of them, and I want to make sure you get yours, but. I'm also sitting in nature. You know what I mean? I'm still here in Costa Rica, and so there's many things. You just want to keep adding those things. So I will say for sure, it's just when I get on this station, it's like being at home. So when I'm talking to anyone in my family, we going in like we having a really good conversation, and a lot of times we walk out of that conversation. I'm like, man. I wish I had recorded that. I've had that happen a million times, right?
Yeah, I know.
But on this station, I feel like I'm talking to my family. You see what I mean? So it's not like when I just did one with Gola Remy and and we went in, but I still was like at a certain posture the whole presentation. You see what I mean? When I come here, I'm like, yo, I need to transmit everything now. There is no tomorrow. Give them the highest that right now. Let's set a bar. It's like this the State of the Union address. You're like, yo, we need to come in with everything and summarize it all right now. So that's what I can come in here with. And I knew it was gonna line up. Like even the other day, I was gonna hit you up, and when you say, hey, yo, let's come in on Wednesday, I was gonna say, yo, let's go on the fourth dimension. But then I said, you know what? I'm not gonna mention anything about it. And then even when I said you had already created the Omega code, then I was like, okay, yeah, this all lines up anyway, because that's what we're doing. We're leaving the third dimension. So long, suckers. And then we're moving into that fourth dimensional, fifth dimensional. Because remember, third dimension, like I'm not trying to just pigeonhole you in the fourth dimension because it's, oh man, there's vampires on the fourth dimension and that's just really entropy. You can't stay there. So they got a whole story for it, right? Like, you can't really stay there too long, but you're going anyway when you go to sleep. And so at the end of the day, take that journey and let it allow you to go everywhere. And because at the end of the day, like what I'm working on personally, funding on, I call it, is the dream technology. Okay. And we don't get into that tonight, but just imagine real talk. If you spend 6-7 hours a day sleep, okay, everything in your dream you can feel just like you were feeling in this world, if not more. Like I feel more sometimes when I'm in. I've taken drugs even in the dream. You like there, hi, like what's going on in there?
Right.
So every single thing that you can feel can happen there. So what would happen if you spent 7 hours in a world that you created, and then you woke up here? You see what I mean? You would literally like you want everybody be like, look at you, be having a smile on your face. Who can make the sunrise? This is what you would be like when they're talking to you, because you literally know, yo, when I go back home, I would just be investing in the bed and the pillows, because every time I go into the dream world, I'm anything that I want. I go all over the place and I do things with beings that you've never even thought of. Yeah. And then back in the morning, sprinkle it with dew. You see what I mean? So I'm just saying we need to be focusing on gaining complete access to what belongs to us, which is the dream space. And we know that Wi-Fi and all of these other blockers and all this, the low amplification, low frequency, all this kind of stuff is just they run in their lines and circuitry right across our beauty in that way, right? So we get all this stuff intersecting with our dreams. So for me, that's where it's going next, because I have systems that can tell me everything that I need to do and how to actually fabricate it, is to actually even make more things, just like you have an iPhone. So don't think I'm trying to replace what we can naturally do, but make more things that stimulate truly, like I'll be showing facts and receipts, stimulate truly the energetic centers of the being, harmonize, stabilize them, and get them prepared for travel.
Sevan, real quick, did the you gonna see that Tron movie? Somebody just mentioned it.
A new joint coming out?
Yeah.
I didn't even know a new joint coming out. At the end of the day, man, they've been messing up all the old movies. So I'll go watch the old Tron. I got plenty of nostalgia around that because I used to see that as a kid. But you know, what are they called? The isotopes, you know, like we the isotopes inside of the inside of these worlds. We're the thinking. This 3D is the thinking machine, right? And then that's what. And then in the end, that's the thing. It's like AI allows us to handle 3D efficiently because it's the energy yield to manage 3D is too high in that way. That's what I was saying. Like our throughputs are not correct to the amount of energy that we put out and then the results that we get for that energy. And so that's why we let the machines, this is a droid world. This runs on binary, like computer chips, 42-bit, 62-bit or 64-bit, 128-bit, 256-bit, right? So those are all increments of 64. Let the blocks in the machines do what they do. Get them interconnected and get them generating for you. And then you yourself personally begin to move on to the fourth dimension, fifth dimension, and beyond. That's my template. You see what I mean? So I'm not saying like I could care less if I have a computer or a cell phone or any of this. Some people are like, yo, he's always into the technology. Because the world, look at the world. It's one of the only moral things that you can still do. And then lastly, yo, they love to celebrate when you fail in this community. It's a little weird. We got to check ourselves about this. Like still, I've been in the paint for years. They've crushed guys like me with scandals and all types of stuff, and I'm still transmitting. And then, you know, the buzz be okay. But I'm just saying we have to celebrate more longevity rather than demise. Because if it's like, yo, Sevan's a cult leader scam, this is like 400,000, 500,000 views easy, right? You see what I mean? So this kind of energy of this world, this is what we're contending with at times. And so that's why our transmissions get better. Like, look how we deployed. I deployed Wealthy Bot. I deployed Adept Lexicon. I deploy Secret Energy. All this stuff is polished, right? So I deploy Dream Engine. So I deploy Sybil, right? So I'm deploying all of these things, right? Not one of these guys, right, can deploy one thing and they be like, they got him on the shoulders. Like, yo, he created whisk.com. We love him. Can you come speak at our board? You see what I mean? So remember, so in this game, until you become the master, it's loaded. The cards are loaded. It's like a gambling. It's a gamification reality where it's like a casino where they own the casino always wins if you're going to play on their board, right? Think about it. Like they got the whole thing rigged down to the gods, to the language, to everywhere you go. Energy is being extracted from your money to your taxes to your children to your. You can't peep that. Like shit, I can't find. I have a hard time finding the areas that I'm actually getting stimulated by. But if I wanted to add all the areas that are trying to pull energy, the list is long and even includes sometimes family members. You see what I mean? So what is this? I can't do nothing but buck out of this. Even if I was to lay down for a moment, it's like what you watch in nature. Even if you lay down and act sick for a moment, some shit will try to stalk you. Some shit will try to jump up on you. Start getting sick and tired and lazy and hurt and down and depressed. If you want to, this shit will eat. Oh, it'll eat. It'll feed then, right? You see what I mean? So there's no way. It's zero chill. Like for the moment that they started, Lion was the moment that I started realizing where I needed to be, right? So that's all I'm saying is that sometimes, like I always tell myself, look, yo, I need to see you at 1,000 because that's what I need to see for myself. So at the end of the day, I will still tell anybody, if you think you're in competition with me, watch out because I'm in competition with myself.
Right.
This is a very high stakes game, me against me. And I suggest that everybody take that posture at times with how this is really. Don't be incorporating too many other equations into your stuff, other people. Get you in the paint. Get that conversation going on in your universe, not him diverse or them diverse, right? That's not what the word says. It's you, right? So that's what it's all about, man. And that, again, we've been doing that for 16 years. Sometimes we can mix it up in a different way. But if you go to this first message, it's saying the same thing.
Beautiful, brilliant masterpiece tonight, Sevan, my brother. Thank you once again for coming on the platform. I look forward to making history with you on November 1st and 2nd. You and Red Pill. Shout out to Spin City in the chat right now. He's actually in the Discord helping out with everything with the AI related. You can catch him on Red Pill's channel. Sevan, I'm gonna talk to you soon. I'm gonna give you a call if not tomorrow, the day after, so we can line the next thing up, my brother, and keep this
No
thing going.
doubt. Much love to the
All
family.
right, all right, peace, my brother. All right, family. Just a reminder: tomorrow, B Dell will be live at 9 p.m. We're gonna be celebrating the release of B Dell's book, so make sure you tune in tomorrow, 9 o'clock. We're gonna have a. It's just we having a good time, show after show after show after show. So I hope y'all really enjoying yourselves. This is a place where there's a lot of crazy things in the external world you may see, but when you come here, your heart is going to leave here a little lighter. Your energy is going to be a little more, boosted up. But wow, what a show, man. I mean, I don't know. Wow. I've always seen the intellectual side of Sevan. Sevan is a beast with that, but the fire he came with today. Wow. I mean, Sevan went in. I mean, like, you didn't just hear him, you felt them tonight. And it's beautiful to see somebody in action. It's beautiful to see God just possess somebody. Like I said, I like watching basketball, and you can see like Kobe, or when somebody doing their thing, it's like watching them get possessed. Or I remember one time I was at a concert with Kanye performing, and I was watching him on stage, and he was like completely possessed by his spirit or his higher self. And to see somebody completely possessed by what they're passionate about, it's a beautiful thing to watch. You pay money to watch that. You pay money to watch that. That's why we pay money to watch the best Floyd Mayweather fight, Muhammad Ali, because they just get completely engulfed in what they love. And it's the most beautiful thing in the world to witness and to see. And tonight was an example of that. Once again, shout out to Sevan. Family. Somebody said, man had a fan under his shirt. He was not playing. He was not playing. He had a fan. He was not playing. Family, y'all better sign up. I don't know who didn't so far, family. I don't know what reason you got if you didn't. If you did, I appreciate it. Make sure y'all sign up for this workshop. The closer we get, it's getting hotter. Do y'all notice the AI Atlas is coming right before the workshop? That's why I said Sevan might really be AI Atlas. That nigga wasn't joking. But he said that he was not joking. Oh man, I'm just it's dope. It's dope to be a part of this. I'm gonna get out of here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I know y'all had a good time. Let me just see what y'all talking about real quick. Shout out to Inez. Shout out to you, Inez, Grandma Inez. I'm gonna send you your tracking number after the show. You in Philly, I think. And right here it says Saturday the 18th. So you will get your cigar Saturday the 18th. That's to Inez. I hope you're listening. But I will send you an email with your tracking number. But I was thinking about you a little earlier because I seen you had emailed me. So just wanted to let you know that. Shout out to everybody who got their tickets tonight. I didn't look at my email during the show. Sometimes I look at it and I say thank you to everybody. But shout out to everybody who got their tickets tonight. I will be sending the Discord link out late tonight. I got to go do a little meditation after this show, after 7. So I ain't going to send it out now. Probably in about 3 hours. I got to, you got to take this energy and you got to build off of the momentum. Esther Hicks used to talk about, you got to milk that vibration. We feeling like this, you got to milk it. After the show, say 10 minutes worth of affirmations. Do something. But the energy is there. Sevan was the light bringer. He was talking about Lucifer. He had Luciferian energy. He was the light bringer tonight. He brought light. He lit up the room. He lit up the room literally. So take that light. Thank you, my brother. And built off of that. Somebody said, how do you get the cigar? Let me just share the link real quick before I get out of here. Because I gotta go and build off of this because damn, the brother came with it. Where's this at? Okay. Oh man, this is beautiful. Yeah, for those who are asking, Oh, Jeff, you got your cigar. Yeah, you had emailed me too. Shout out to Jeff. Jeff got it. Shout out to Jeff. For the individual asking me about the link to the cigars, that is the PayPal donation. Shout out to everybody who's donating, helping me to build this 363 empire. It is it's going to be, it is absolutely amazing. It's not going to be amazing. It is already amazing in another dimension. So this is why they say you got to speak in the present, because it already exists in that dimension. Why would you speak from a shadow perspective? We don't speak from a shadow perspective when we that's a, I ain't gonna go into that. I actually went into that whole shadow thing on a couple of shows I did by myself ago. So it's amazing that Sevan brought that up. I'm real happy. But listen, somebody said I sent PayPal donation and address on October 2nd. Then you should have gotten as divine. You need to email me. If you sent it on December October 2nd, you should email me, richardmerritt@yahoo.com. Listen, got to get out here. But listen, I appreciate everybody. Bring one before the workshop. I got gifts for the mind. Yeah, Spin City. I got to get on the call with you and Red again. I'm gonna get you on the show, Spin. I'm gonna get you on the show, Spin, next week. I'm gonna get the brother Spin on the show next week. We need to all connect. But yeah, I'm gonna get Spin. I'm gonna get you on the show next week. Shout out to Sevan. Y'all make sure y'all follow that brother on YouTube, Understanding, I think his YouTube channel is. And the brother got amazing technology. I absolutely love wearing the watch. If I had it in front of me, I would show y'all. Is it over there? No. I love wearing the brother's watch while I meditate. There's something about it. Certain things that just, you have a vibe, but you can't articulate it in the English language. There's just an energy about this brother's watch that is absolutely magical. So shout out to that. Be an understanding in this YouTube. Make sure you support his products, his technology. Sybil, all of that. Somebody said 30 for the cigar. Yeah, that's the donation amount that'll get you a gifted one. Listen, getting out of here. I will see you tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Be there, family. Enjoy your night, all right? Peace and blessings, everyone.